Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's season 4, episode 2, entitled The Homeliest Little Horse. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around and keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. An exhausted EMT comes home after a long day's work. As he passes by, he ignores the hellos from a white neighbor as she cares for her dog. She rushes back to her apartment with Gizmo saying, "Come on, we're gonna be late." She plays R&B music and she watches the EMT get undressed. Lisa then gets an email from Gordon Rosenbaum. He read her manuscript online and is interested in setting up a meeting for further discussion. He even CC'd his assistant to get a meeting set up. Ern gets a call from Al that he needs a gamertag password. He's tried to reset his password, but it's tied to an old AOL email. The password is his favorite movie, maybe Scarface? But around this time, he would have been in middle school, so Ern suggests try Mulan, and it works. Ern has to get where he needs to be, and Al laughs when he finds out the destination is therapy, and even tells him, "You're getting rich. You can even see a therapist." The therapy session starts off light. Ern's probation has ended, and his alumni school, Princeton, has asked him to come and speak. Ern can hardly get a word in as he's constantly interrupted by phone alerts. The therapist's request to have a productive session, putting his phone away, is recommended. Ern can't disconnect, saying that his phone is paying for the sessions. He even got word from his doctor that he's having heart problems. There's a tightness in his chest, and he experiences pain and numbness going down his left arm. They say that he's healthy and think that he's lying. If they did it to Kim Porter, they can do it to him too. Ern wanted a second opinion, so now he's wired up so they can keep track of daily recordings. An EKG machine. Their guess is anxiety and panic attacks. Ern doesn't understand anxiety. For what? He's making more money than he ever has. The agency is giving him more clients, and he's pretty good. When the therapist asks how are things at home, Ern is lost for words at first, but then he says good. He may move to LA for a consulting gig. He hasn't told Van yet. Thinking about it, how it affects Lottie and Van, it gives him chest pains instantly as he presses his chest. And he even asks if he can lay down during the session. Instead of laying on the bed or the couch, he lays down on the floor, elevating his legs. Lisa arrives to Rosenbaum's literacy agency, and the person who she's scheduled to meet has an assistant, but they're on the phone. It's a face we all remember, Tracy. His professionalism isn't too great, and he tells Lisa to sit down. And when her appointment time arrives, he says, "Hey, come on." She greets Gordon, and he wants to know if she's signed to an agency. She says no, and no one has reached out. He warns her to never admit that nobody wants you. He wants to get to the chase and wants to find her a publisher. Tracy lets Gordon know that it's 10:30 and he needs to get going. Gordon is in a hurry, telling Lisa that she needs drawings to go with her book. They've arranged a book reading for her at the library, and it's mostly inner city kids. A legend. A publisher will be there to listen. She can't miss it, and she needs to look for the lady in the hat. Congratulations, as he's accepting her as his agent, and he hands her a card. He also needs her to get rid of the grays and get smoking hot for a photo session. Back to Ern's session, who does he trust? He trusts people to be themselves, which is no one, maybe Darius. Ern notices a box that has a keyboard in it, and the therapist brags that he can get a little crazy on the keys, but maybe later. Back to the session. The therapist wants to know, when it comes to Princeton, what happened with that? But Ern doesn't want to speak about it. He tells him that they said that they would give him this honorary degree and kiss his butt, and they say yes to the degree part, but not his butt. It's a pretend degree, and he can't start a medical practice with it. When it's all said and done, he's making more money now than if he would have stayed. Their only interest in him is now because of two things. Being black is valuable, and it's a donation. The therapist hears the resentment in his voice and wants to know what happened. You gotta go into detail. So him and this girl named Sasha, he was an RA in the same building, and they got close pretty fast. They knew that they could confide in one another, and he felt that he could be honest with her. So he gets this job interview, and he called his parents to get a suit. He got a suit, and then he goes to the computer lab, and he looked good. Then his crush comes in and asks if he wants to go to this party in Philly. Sasha is a couple of saws down and offers to stash his suit in her room until he comes back to the party. So he goes to this party and comes back to get the suit, and there's no response from Sasha. And he tries to communicate with her over and over again. It was like Sasha was ducking him. It's a few hours before the interview and he needs his suit. And she writes back finally, "Sorry, not around." So he went downstairs, knocked on the door, and still no one answers. So he got his master key and got the suit and left. Big mistake. She was furious and told the dean, and it became like a real thing. First, it was talks of suspension and then expulsion. The therapist makes a guess that Sasha wasn't black, and he's correct. They started using rapist language for what he did. Intruder, attack on personal assault, invasion of privacy, and Ern was scared. He apologized, but it was like no one was listening to him or even cared. They painted this picture like he was this big black gorilla that came into her room and destroyed her stuff. And I didn't know what to do. As an RA, they make you feel like you have some sort of agency, and then they turn around and treated me like OJ. You trusted me with a master key, and this made me feel angry. Everyone on campus was treating me like I'm weird, and I'm already just one of the 12 black kids only on campus, and I really felt alone. I was hurt because we were supposed to be friends. She never even asked why he did it. He was hurt by someone he trusted. The therapist points out, like the family member who abused you, which made you feel powerless again. Ern breaks down in tears, a cry that is so deeply needed. He needed the release. Ern and Sasha never talked again from that point on. He had to leave the school, and he just made a promise to himself to prove everyone wrong. Ern says he loves spite. It's a pure, powerful thing that gave him courage. He used that courage to help him come back to Atlanta. The therapist does agree that spite can be very powerful, but it also leads to living a life that isn't your own. It also leads to emptiness, depression, and a book written for someone else. A person with no concern for your well-being. Not going back to Princeton may be proving something to her and not yourself. Ern is so drained that all he can do is lean his head back and breathe. Lisa sits with her friend, and the friend notices that Lisa is more upbeat than usual. Is she getting laid? No, it's better than that. She quit her job and she's getting signed soon. All she has to do is do a book reading. This may be the next wave, kind of like Harry Potter. All she needs to do is have a publisher, get drafting for the book art, and a stylist. It could be the big thing, the next big franchise. Her friend is happy for her and will support everything that she does, but she can't believe that she quit her job. Also, that she doesn't have another $500 to give her this month. She has bills herself and can't keep supporting her. Lisa gets upset and doesn't let the comments sway her. Before she leaves, she sarcastically says, "Tell me you like my writing." It's another day, another session, and there's another box. This time, it's a gift from the therapist to Ern. It's a floor pillow. Since Ern loves the floor instead of the couch, it may just do. Now to the therapy. Did he decide if he would speak at Princeton? He says no. He tried to come to a conclusion about the matter, and it was a disaster. I decided to tell the school that I would do this speech, be a part of this panel, and also I thought bring Van and Lottie, and then we could go to Sesame Place. I'm looking for my driver's license and I can't find it, so I use my passport, right? No problem. We get checked in and Van's name is spelled all wrong, still no problem. We get to the priority lane and I have platinum status. A lady employee then asks to see this passport. And I'm confused as to why. We already checked in, but anyway, I hand her the passport. She looks at the passport and then hands it back to Ern, saying that it's too damaged to fly on a domestic flight. The pages were a little worn at best. When the therapist asks if the employee was white, Ern says, do you even have to ask? I then ask for a second opinion, and when she's explaining it to the other employee, she's explaining it like, I'm not gonna let these people get on the plane anyway. And then the coworker shrugs their shoulders while they're looking at them. She kind of gives this energy like she doesn't want to get involved and she's over it. At this point, I figure, why not just tie into the emotions of everything? We have these sesame passes. They need this flight. Please let us in. And the lady laughs in my face. What can I do? Wild out? She boots us out of the line, and Van flags down a black woman at another counter. She's helpful to check us in, no issue. And then she tells them that the Nazi ticket lady does this all the time to black travelers, all the time. And the entire time, this lady wasn't even the manager. The black lady gets them to their gate, and homegirl must have snitched or something because TSA was waiting for me when we got to the gate. I was so over it, and I didn't even want to go at this point. Now Van is crying, saying that she doesn't want to go without him. Long story short, they're still waiting on their baggage. Ern realizes that going back to Princeton wasn't the issue. He was mad about wasted time. He wants to connect more with Lottie and Van, and possibly moving is the biggest picture. Anger won't cheat you to your goals. Ern even feels that he can stop therapy. He feels now that he has the tools to move forward, and thanks the therapist. When Ern says that he doesn't need the floor pillow anymore and he wants to give it back, the therapist encourages him to keep it anyway as a gift. Besides, he's too big for it anyway. It's a good laughter that breaks the ice, and it's a pivotal reflective moment. Lisa arrives with her fur baby ready for the reading, along with the book, The Homeliest Little Horse. The employee lets her know that she can't bring that dog in here, and it needs to be leashed outside. Lisa pulls out a note from her doctor and saying that it's a service dog, but the answer is still no. Lisa says that it works at the airport and the note is legally FAA approved. Once again, the employee tells her that story time begins in 15 minutes, unless her and her dog want to go to the airport. There's a prep before the story time, and Lisa sees the important observer, the lady in the hat. She begins the story, and there's a constant interruption of comments from the children. I don't like this story. That horse is so ugly. No wonder nobody likes him. Look at the horse. It's farting. The fire represents farting. Lisa tries to hold back tears of frustration, and Lisa notices that the lady with the hat leaves, as well as several children. Now the tears flow, and the library employee tells her to just keep going, and the tears from Lisa begin to fall even more. Terrible playback footage is ran at a local bar, and Ern gives donation to the community theater. Ern tells Al and Darius that, remember the white lady who ruined my family trip, Lisa Mon? Well, I hired all of these actors to ruin her life. I think she's in debt now. Al can't believe that he went that far. That event at the airport was like months ago. Ern feels that all that effort and hiring all the actors and spending all that money was completely worth it. Darius doesn't know if this is an extreme level of pettiness or terrorism. Whatever it is, good job. Ern gets pure satisfaction watching playback of Lisa's terrible aftermath. Ern just whispers to himself, maybe I need to go back to therapy, as Rick James' Cold-Blooded plays in the background. And that is the end of the episode. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. Now, for those of you who have not seen the previous season, don't fret. I have the previous seasons in the playlist, and it's also in the description area of this video. This episode right here, I say this time and time again, the writing was absolutely amazing. This was hilarious for me, but there's so much to dissect, and in typical Official Bunny fashion, I will help you understand anything that you missed. So let's get right to it, okay? Let's start with Lisa Mon, okay? The actions of the bad treatment of Black people at her job, right? She has some sort of authority and say over who flies. This character, and if you've heard in hip hop, you know, they hate me because he ain't me. We're seeing this with Lisa. At the beginning of the episode, if you missed it, she's listening to R&B music, right? She's desiring this Black EMT through his window. And her best friend even joke at lunch about fantasizing being with Outkast, okay? We have Lisa who looks at Ern with this platinum status, you know, for travel, you know, yet her life is a mess, right? Her friend is telling her she can't lend her any more money. She is the pinnacle of spite, right? Spite. And you have this because I don't have that. She also has financial issues already because the friend is saying I can't loan you any money. So because of this instance with Ern, it's not just because of him, right? You have people not believing in her dream. One thing about the military, if you don't know, is that they break you down and they let you lose who you are to refocus you and to get you to understand that you are there for them. You're not there for you. Whatever you thought you were, that ain't it. This is the perfect epitome of understanding the breakdowns and experiences in America. So we have this positive deserving theory in psychology. And you need to listen closely because this will help you analyze the episode better. Positive deserving theory is just one of the aspects and terminologies in psychology. It's been studied since after World War II. It's this notion that's always expressed artistically through movies, television series. Some good examples are Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, The Wire. It's the correlations of actions, right? And who we think deserves anything, who deserves to live, who deserves to die, who should feel this, who should feel that. More and more studies continue on about how this notion goes on, how people have biased and unbiased opinions, why people would feel certain people do deserve this and deserve that. Who are we to decipher who is the receptive of positive deserving theories? We felt sorry for Lisa at first, at least I did as a viewer, seeing her follow her dream, get excited, have this hope, and she's reading this book and being humbled very quickly that something isn't right? It's this redemption. And how much is too much? Who can decide what is going too far? Was this deserving? Okay? When it comes to earn, we're getting to the points to where we see this psychological therapy, mental and physical effects of health, career, and finally what happened at Princeton. It's this ongoing mystery of the show. What happened when he was in school? Did he drop out? Did he get, did he flunk out? We learn the mistrust and white terrorism. America has yet to coin this theory. White women use their whiteness and their tears as terrorism to earn what they feel that they deserve, taking other people's situations in life hostage. If you are Black in America, you can at least, or if you haven't, great, attest to experiencing a Karen, right? More people coin it Karen, but the true name and the true coin, according to psychology, should be white terrorism, okay? She knew that her word alone would be earned as gold. The girl Sasha in school knew what she was doing, taking the suit, going to the dean. She knew what she was doing, white terrorism. His college career was in her hands. We learned that he could have been a doctor, right? And what he wanted to experience. But because of that action, his life trajectory was completely turned off, right? Black people experience this. People of color experience this every day. Psychological therapy. Let's talk about that. Beautiful writing. Earn has gone to a Black therapist. Why is this necessary? When it comes to health, we talk about trust. We talk about trust and the history of mistrust in America. To this day in 2022, believe it or not, according to Harvard, white doctors and nurses were given a statistical revamp to give their opinion. And wouldn't you know, more than 90% of those white physicians and nurses felt that Black people do not feel pain at the same level as white patients, which is very scary. There's so much research about women and men having lower fatality rates, being treated for pain, being more assertive, and being more understanding and care for when they have Black doctors. Also, when you talk about psychological therapy, we have more effectiveness, right, of treatment when Black people visit Black psychologists and psychiatrists. This is a statistical fact, and it's sad that it happens. When Ern is telling the story and the psychologist says, let me guess, Sasha was white, He knew immediately because of the American experience, and he could communicate with him in such a way to where Ern finally built what? Trust to share that story. It's no telling how long he held that in, right? He talked about the mistrust not only with the abuse in his family, we learn about if you don't feel that there's trust as a patient, you're less likely to go to the doctor. You're less likely to get checkups. You're less likely across the board when it comes to health, okay? We talk about how Ern requested a second opinion, and a psychologist, a black man, said, listen to your body, okay? Listen to it. He also mentioned Ern that, hey, if they did that to Kim Porter, they can do that to me, okay? The story behind Kim Porter, one of the baby's moms of P. Diddy, Sean Combs, right? That she was having these issues. She was reporting her pain and her symptoms to her doctor, which is a white doctor. And they ignored that and said she was fine. She passed away less than a month later. Okay. So there were a lot of things and people putting two and two together about if she had been taken more seriously and reporting her pain, maybe she still would have been with us. We also have the situation with Serena Williams when she had her baby. She was in extreme pain. She knew something wasn't right. Something about her body when she was in labor it just wasn't right. She tells this story, and she also shared it with Oprah, that I knew something wasn't right. She's continuously telling the doctor, she's continuously telling them something isn't right. It took her husband, her white husband, for her to say something to the doctors, and then they took the situation seriously. Serena Williams almost passed away because of complications. So let's also talk about Ern's spite and redemption. Sasha ruined his life, and the situation was the same he experienced with Lisa. He wanted Lisa to feel what he experienced at that airport. Humiliation, stripping of himself, right? Hope that something good would come out of it. Then disappointment, same thing that Lisa experienced. Power. Lisa had complete power at that airport. They took her word. TSA took her word. Okay. She even had power over the black employee that tried to get them checked in and tried to get them through security. Now Ern has that power, which is money, to make that all happen. Ern said that was all worth it, paying all the actors. Think how much effort that was, getting the books, paying the actor children, the adults, renting out the suite where you had the fake agency, hiring Tracy. I mean, all of that was just above and beyond. I mean, even Tracy said, your cousin is sick. Even Darius is like, I don't know if this is extreme pettiness or terrorism. Okay, there goes that word again, because he knows what's up. But he's like, hey, because he's had some experience, he's like, I don't know, but good job, right? Both Tracy and Darius. And I'll get it, right? Now let's talk about accountability. And who cares? The actors could care less that they benefited from Lisa's pain, right? And that's the same thing with reality when it comes to the effects of white terrorism. The media, other people don't help and profit. Those actors knew they were getting a check. Even the guy that played Gordon was like, hey, when you do this again, let me know. You got my headshot, right? Nobody cared. Okay. It's the same thing with these black experiences. We see it on TV. There's video. People are outraged, but still there's that power that's there. That's this unspoken power that is basically you can say the kryptonite of America, which is racism and greed. Excellent writing. And it's a reflection to focus for Ern that he needs to focus more on his family. He needs to stop living out of spite. And only he, right, has the power to do what he needs to do in the future, because spite will only backfire. The trajectory of his life was changed. Sasha's going to have her little bumps and bruises in the future, okay, because she's in debt because she took those headshots and all this other stuff with the homeliest little horse. And it's like, girl, you had these dreams, but girl, are you even taking classes? Because Homeliest, which is a word, but a lot of the verbiage in there, you're not getting with the proper people to draw, something that psychologically would correlate with children. There's artistry when it comes to children's books. And there's a lot of psychology to it. It may seem simple as adults, but to children, you have to make sure that you watch out for certain words, that the drawings do not confuse what the character is experiencing. The kid's like, that's fire, that's fart, that's a fart, There's a lot of rules to children's books. And if you really thought about it, and if you really reflect, the homeless little horse is Lisa. Lisa is talking about herself. Lisa is talking about herself in that book. Let me know what you think. I thought this was great. It was hilarious. And I immediately thought about those psychological terms. I immediately thought about those medical situations and statistics and the kryptonites and the terrible things that are going on in the medical field. And there is a socioeconomic division when we talk about healthcare, when we talk about rights, when we talk about experiences. What I experienced as a Black woman is completely different if you're a white woman. That is a fact, okay? We even talk about how earned health, feeling those sharp pains and dealing with that every day affects your health. It's something that's been researched even in the early 50s and 60s, okay? So just do your research. I hope that I help you come to a lot of understandings about the episode and why it wasn't just funny. It was hilarious to me, but this deserving idea of positive deserving theory and why maybe a lot of Black people, when we watched it, we were cracking up like, oh, you get what you get, right? You get what you get. It's this boomerang of you're dishing it and now you're getting it. Let me know what you think. Like this video, subscribe, support your girl, donate, do whatever you want to do to keep this channel going. Also, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Check out other shows that are posted weekly that I recap and review. Follow me on Instagram so you don't miss sneak peeks on stuff and see what's going on in my personal life. Comment, you guys. I love reading your comments. So many people DM me on Instagram. I think you guys are shy, but I ain't nobody. I'm just an average, everyday, gal, okay? So just send me messages, whatever. Let me know what you think. Like this video. In the meantime, in between time, remember to take care of yourself and each other, and also stay tuned for episode 3. Check out Queen Sugar. It's the final season. The Handmaid's Tale, Bell Collective, Ready to Love Miami. So much. Just binge watch and have fun. Until next time, I'll see ya. Bye.